Another day, another part of RJ Goldie's law sequence and slap battles. The hitman, an NPC who somehow got a raw null shard in a god's hand. You may think, oh, it's easier than that. Tensor just coded it in. But why would you just let it slide like Tensor coded it in? There's always a way to pick out law from something that he coded in. So let's dive right into it. So the hitman stands normally still until you talk to him, where he gets a pose from his NPC stance. But if he's stuck there, how on the earth did he get a null shard, a candy corn, true power, an odd stopwatch, and an ancient mask, and all these artifacts? Well, he doesn't just stand in one place. He's a hitman. He goes out and puts stuff on walls, and he finds stuff that could lead to evidence. But then, why were you in the null zone? How did you get to the null zone? How did you possibly get a stopwatch that is odd? How do you know the stopwatch is odd? How did you get this and that? Well, we're explaining that. So, I've got two theories. My first theory is to how he got the null shard. That is what the God's Hand can do, guys. So how did he get it? This is my theory on how he got the something called a null shard. As we know, it's raw. He has no eyes. What I think happened is he went out exploring until he found Bob and Rob together in the great war against their cults. Just like in my last video how I mentioned the cult up there. So this guy might have stumbled there and got sucked into the black hole too. But oh, he didn't die though. He's immortal. So maybe he found a fully charged null shard, picked it up and tried to take it back here. But then the null shard just exploded and it shot out his eye. That's why you don't see his eyes. And when it done that, it used all of its power, but he survived because some of the power of the null shard actually went into him and made him immortal. Although it took out his eyes, he now cannot die. And that's how he got a raw null shard, because all the power got put into him. Or another theory is he was given it by who? The guide. This does sound weird and all, but maybe it wasn't exactly the guide. Okay, so here's another theory about how he got it. So what I think is how he got a raw null shard is that his boss, because he obviously has a boss who's telling him to kill all these people, like Error, Nightmare. How do you even know an Error exists in a human form? We know how he knows that exists because he could have stumbled across it. We don't know how he knows what guide is. We only know because his hitman told him. How do you know about overkill? Well, what I think happened is his boss secretly went back on him and took the and worked with guide, betrayed guide, and went to this guy and told him to you guessed it, you guessed it, told him about the information about the guide. But how are they connected? How are they connected? You may be asking. They both have the same look on their eyes. Like, look, their eyes are there. See what I mean? They both have blacked out eyes, and they also both have a hat. One has a bounty hat. One has a smiley face hat. So I wonder if they're connected in some way, and he got the information about that. I don't know, but there's the theory on how he got a null shard. Now on how he got a candy corn. Well, the way for that is very simple. He was obviously exploring in Halloween, and he stumbled across a floating candy cane, which ties back to how he got it, okay? Does this guy really want me to do this? I'm recording, bro. Mr. Matthew here. And then, as you can see, true power. How did he got God's hands? Well, I as I said in my other theory video, Rob, him took the power of a null shard from Bob and turned it into a god's hand. But weird part is, how did you then find Bob and take this? Well, as I said earlier, he stumbled across the big battle, and that's how he got a null shard. Oh my god, it's all clicking together! Oh! Of course, since power of the null shard shot into him, he turned immortal. But then, he's immortal, so he went to Rob and took 1% of power from him and got this god's hand. Now that's a terrible theory, but it could. Just a little slim chance it's true. And then the old stopwatch. This old stopwatch is really bugged me. I've looked, oh my god. I've looked all over this place's cabin, and there's nothing to do with anything to do with the stopwatch. And like, I thought of the null shards because there's null area, true power because it's a glove, and like, you know, Rob has also got the power of that. Like, oh my god, can you get off of me? But then how did he get a stopwatch? But then it's obviously known how he got a stopwatch. He probably went to the shop that you can get the note from there, because it's right next to him, and clicked on it and just bought the old stopwatch. How do you know that it's odd? That does actually tie a bit into God's hand, because the old stopwatch has its own zone and the glove gives you boosts. Maybe instead of the raw null shard making him immortal, he got the old stopwatch first. And as you know, that can make him invincible, but you've got to stand still. Maybe that's how he became immortal. That's why he always stands still, because he has to be immortal. You know what I'm saying? And then how that ties into use, because you freeze time, and that also can freeze time since it's the grandfather clock, but it doesn't with the actual glove. So there's no things like that. The ancient mask, okay? You can sort of pick out some more about this, but the ancient mask really has no discrimination. The only thing I could think of last time was a Rob cult. But really, that looks wore out, but then this God's hand looks nothing like a worn out one. Maybe they all connected, but there's no resemblance to an ancient mask. Maybe this guy, the skull guy, wore it. Oh, I've just thought of this right there. Maybe he wore it? Or maybe it was like, alright, let me check his hit list. Because maybe he found this from his hit list. Wait a minute, let me check this. Okay. So avoid the burn. I've got a theory about him coming out soon. But I think, no. The school is a no-no. Anywhere you would get a ancient mask. This ain't mine. Was here. What? Who was there? Maybe he got the ancient mask from there? That's it? Closed. Anyone from here? Hold up. Look at that side of the mask. You see how it's got that tilty little smile? Who else has that tinty little smile? Error. But then who would the other side be? Error's greatest partner, Glitch. Glitch might have that face, and then Error has that face, and he found one of their cult's masks. Or maybe he found the mask that gave them the ability to glitch into the system. Maybe that's how we got it. Maybe he got it because they were glitching into the system and you found it. You don't look like it though. Another theory I do want to address is, how How does this guy know who Slenderman is? I'm being dead serious. How do you know who Slenderman is? Because Slenderman's right here. But you know about him because of the quest, but the thing is, you can't go there because you can't be immortal without you standing still, so you possibly cannot go there. Here's the quest. The party. Sorry you've called me a bit of a public situation at the moment. He's in a letter. No. He obviously knows about it. And you know how it's just not that quest? You maybe say, oh, it's just a quest? Nuh-uh. Because what's that? That looks exactly like the tree in the note that you get. That looks exactly like the note on that tree, and that looks like just the tree you get to get the glove. But that's not it, folks. Right there. No one's ever talked about this. Boom. Slenderman. Big tall figure next to a trees. Those trees look oddly similar to the trees in the minigame you play to get him. That looks oddly similar to Slenderman. The way you get him. All ties in now. Job. The hell? This might be the nightmare dimension. Because it's right next to nightmare, but I don't know. But that's my theory. Let us just check around. I do know a lot about you, but he does really confuse me. The only thing that confuses me the most, the jail guy. I need to explain everyone on this board, but the thing that's gonna really kill me is Slenderman and the prisoner. But that's how we end the video, and please like and subscribe, and we will post more theory videos because we connect our viewers by theories that we make along the way. Goodbye everyone, hope you had a good theories video, and I hope you learned one or two things about slap outs law. See you later, goodbye.